Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Cristin, and today I'm not going to be telling you one, but two trying to conceive story times. So, as a lot of you know, but some of you might not, I am a mother of an almost 3-year-old little boy. On top of that, I am currently pregnant with a baby boy number 2, and I have never done a trying to conceive video. I've never told you guys about our story, our journey, how long it took us, what all went into having our children. And I thought, you know what, I should probably do that. So we're going to do both stories today, and that'll be it. So, for my firstborn, as I mentioned, we had him nearly 3 years ago. I got pregnant with him when I was 25, had him at 26. But getting pregnant with him was not easy. And I know that other people struggle and go through so much more challenges than we went through, so I'm by no means trying to overshadow that. However, our own personal struggles were, still difficult for us. I'm going to try to keep all my facts straight. It's been a minute, so I'm going to try to remember everything correctly. We'll see how well I do. So, this all kind of starts a while ago, obviously, but even further back than 3 years ago. Okay, so I went on birth control when I was 18 years old, and I was on it on a regular, consistent basis until I was 22 and lost my medical insurance. I got kicked off my parents' insurance, couldn't afford my own, went a year without medical insurance, and went off my birth control. During that time frame, my husband and I, who at the time were not yet married, we just used other forms of birth control. I turned 23 in April, and then in November, my now husband proposed to me, became my fiance, and we started planning a wedding. And I started getting really stressed out. Not to mention, during my whole 23rd year for the most part, and a big part of 22nd, my cycles were all over the place, and I just assumed it was because I'd come off my birth control, which was completely abnormal for me. I mean, the whole time I was on birth control, they were on the dot every month. And so for a big part of 22 and most of 23, my cycles were everywhere. We roll around to November, we get engaged, we start planning a wedding. And I end up going a couple of months without a cycle, and we thought I was pregnant. But none of the tests I took came up positive. We couldn't figure out what was going on. I wasn't having a cycle. I want to say I went from December, January, and February maybe. Maybe it was 2 months, somewhere in there, where I didn't have a cycle, which is completely abnormal for me to not have a cycle at all, though my cycles have been kind of, rather irregular. Again, that stuff so long ago, I'm trying to keep it straight. So I ended up making an appointment with my doctor, my OBGYN, to go talk to her, see what's going on. And I had to have blood work done. That was the thing. Because none of the pregnancy tests were coming up positive, we couldn't figure out what was going on. So I made an appointment with my doctor. My parents were very nice and paid for it out of pocket. I went in, I had blood work done, came back negative, went and talked to my OBGYN. Oh, maybe this is what happened. Again, guys, this has been so long. I had the blood work done with my regular practitioner, came back negative. My husband and I decided to go ahead and get married at the courthouse. That way I could get on his medical insurance. We ended up, long story short, not having a wedding at all, which is fine. We saved ourselves so much money not having a wedding. Well, that's neither here nor there. We ended up going to the courthouse in March and getting married. And shortly before getting married, my cycle kicked in, and I had a cycle for March. We got married, I got onto his medical insurance, and then I made an appointment with my OBGYN because I needed a physical, like a PAP done, and then I also wanted to find out, my cycles have been so crazy, they're going everywhere, that kind of stuff. So I go in to see her, I tell her my concerns, and I tell her, I think that my cycles are going crazy because I'm off my birth control. And she doesn't seem to think that's the reason, and at this point I've been off my birth control for nearly 2 years. I was about to turn 24 in April that year, and we went ahead, we just talked about all this stuff, and she tells me, I'm going to write you a prescription to get you back on your birth control. And when you decide that you want to get pregnant, you probably need to come in and talk to me and get on fertility medication because your cycles are so out of whack. You're probably going to need some help getting pregnant. So that freaked me out pretty badly, just because like we'd never tried getting pregnant before, and my first thought was, this lady's gonna have me have quadruplets. Like, I'm gonna have so many babies if I go on fertility medication. Just because like I like at that point I wasn't even trying to get pregnant, and it was kind of like, you're already wanting to put me on fertility meds. Like, that just seems crazy to me. But anyways, I go ahead and I get back on my birth control. We finish up most of, 23 going into 24. And then that December of 2004, my husband and I can't remember if I think it was in December. It might have been November. We had our 1-year wedding anniversary, 2 years of togetherness in total. And we started talking about wanting to have kids. And so we decided, we took like a good solid month. And I feel like maybe I'll do a video at some point, talking about family planning, but I think we took like a solid month and just talked about having children and about being ready to have kids and if this is something we wanted, and we just talked about all that stuff. It took a month and just talked about it before we even started trying. I want to say January rolled around and I went off the pill. We started trying to get pregnant, and it took us 11 months to get pregnant with our son. I was 25 by the time I got pregnant, turned 25 that April, and got pregnant with him in September and found out in October. And it was a long 11 months. Again, like, I know there are other people who go through a lot more struggles and a lot more hardships, and it takes years and years to get pregnant. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was still hard. The 11 months that we waited to get pregnant was still hard for us, in our personal circumstances. Like, we had already been told once that we'd probably need fertility medication. That was kind of in the back of our mind. And we wanted it so bad, and it kept coming up negative and not happening every month. And it was disheartening, and it was hard. And we were kind of sad, and it just seemed like it wasn't going to happen. The longer we went not getting pregnant, the more it was kind of like, this isn't happening for us. And we had friends and family coming up pregnant, and we were like, dang it, when is it going to happen for us? We even had friends and family who were like not trying to get pregnant, just coming up pregnant. And it was, it was hard. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard. It was hard seeing other people get pregnant when you're trying and you want it so bad and it's not happening. Towards that summer, I want to say July, August time frame, I don't want to say we stopped trying, but we kind of stopped caring so much. We kind of let it go. We were kind of like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. We're not going to put such a big focus on it anymore. I don't want to say we were putting it on the back burner, but we just weren't. I don't know, I guess we've just been so disappointed over that amount of time. We'd started, like I said, in like January, and so by like July-ish, like 7 months later, we were just kind of like, if it happens, it happens. So it's kind of like the mentality we were taking on it. And we didn't want to go on fertility medication yet because I still felt like I was so young, and it was like, I've never been pregnant before, and like maybe that's why we're just having a hard time getting pregnant, because I'd never been pregnant before. I don't know. And so we were just really hesitant to go on fertility medication, and we really just wanted to do it naturally. So we thought, we'll give it a full year and see where we're at, and if we can't get pregnant on our own, then we'll go talk to the doctor. So, like I said, around July, we decided we'll just, if it happens, it happens. We're going to stop worrying about it. And about the same time, June, July time frame, I started working out pretty consistently, trying to lose weight, trying to get healthier, all of that stuff. Trying to keep my mind off of not getting pregnant, pretty much. And what do you know, in September, we got pregnant. Didn't find out until October, but the one thing that made me stop and get a pregnancy test, because at this point, I didn't even have pregnancy tests on hand anymore. I was driving home from work, and I just suddenly had like some acid reflux, like some heartburn, and I was like, that never happens to me, like ever. So I swung into the Dollar Tree and I picked up a pregnancy test. I think I picked up a couple, and went ahead and took one. It was negative, and I was like, yeah, I kind of figured. And then I waited a couple weeks, missed my cycle, and was like, hey, like my period didn't come. I'm going to go ahead and take another test. And I told my husband in the morning when we got up, and he was heading out the door for work, and I was like, I'm going to go take a test. And he was like, yeah, like he was pretty certain it was going to be negative, so he didn't even bother to stick around. He went on out the door to the car, and he's like, just, you know, text me, whatever. Like, he really thought it was going to be negative. And I remember I took the test, and it came up positive like that. By then it was October, and he hadn't pulled out of the drive yet, and I went running outside in my nightgown barefoot with the pregnancy test, and I was like, I'm pregnant, and the look on his face was like, oh my god, it happened. Like, he was shocked. He was like in shock. He was not, like, I think he was in shock the whole day. Like, I remember him coming home and just sitting there like, oh my god, this is happening, you know. Like, he's older than me. We have an 8-year age difference, and I think he just kind of came to a point where he thought kids wasn't going to happen for him. We've never really went super in depth with that, so we'll just kind of like leave it as is. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. And he was just shocked, really. So that's how we got pregnant with our first baby. It took us a full 11 months, but we did it, you know, on our own without any fertility medication, which was awesome for us. I know a lot of people would love to have that experience and can't, and by no means am I trying to diminish anybody's experience who has to go on fertility medication. Just for us personally, it felt really good to be able to do it on our own, because we were really starting to think that that wasn't going to happen, that we were going to need intervention, that we were going to need medication and treatment. So it felt good. It felt good to do it on our own. And then for baby number 2, I'm currently 32 weeks pregnant. In case you're interested, I can leave a link to my most recent pregnancy update video down below if you're curious. Shameless self-promotion. But we were pregnant with a baby boy number 2, and we got pregnant in August of this year and found out in September. So like, fall pregnancies are just my thing, apparently. We started trying to get pregnant in July of 2018, and we fully went into it with the idea of like, we'll just see what happens. Like, we wanted it, but it wasn't the same way as how we wanted it with our first pregnancy. And we just went into it with the full expectation that it was going to take a while. We had no thoughts that it would happen immediately. We really thought, you know, I'm older, I'm now 28, he's even older, and we thought, you know, like, he was 36 at the time, now he's 37, and I'll be 29 when this baby's born. But we fully thought that it was going to take every bit of a year or longer. We just were like, whatever, you know, we're just going to stop using protection, and whatever happens, happens. On top of that, I'd gone off my pill for a while, and I forget, I'm trying to remember exactly what all happened, but back in 2017, my husband had a job change, and we went like 3 months without medical insurance just because we had to wait the 3 months for it to kick in with his new job. So because of that, I went off my birth control for like 3 months. It was like January, February, and March. And then something happened, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I didn't end up going back on my birth control until like May-ish, and I think I took it for all of May, and I ended up having like 3 menstrual cycles that month, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I've been on and off since I was 18. I've always been on ortho tricylinder low. It's never given me any issues up until this last time I tried taking it, and it gave me 3 menstrual cycles in a row, as mentioned, all in 1 month. And my husband and I talked about it, and we were like, you know, we want to have another kid someday, and there's no sense in taking birth control that's clearly messing up my cycles to prevent a child that we want eventually. You know, like, it just didn't make sense. So we went ahead and I went off the pills, and we went back to using other forms of protection. And then in July, we started talking about wanting to try for another baby, because our son at the time was going to turn 2. He turned 2 on July 15th. And on top of that, I was in a wedding last year that happened to be on my son's birthday. And so, like, I didn't want to get pregnant during the wedding, because pregnancy is tiring and exhausting, and who knew how quickly I'd get a belly or when I'd get pregnant, etc., etc. And so when I went off the pills, originally we were not trying to get pregnant. We just didn't want to mess up my reproductive system by being on the pills. You know, it didn't make any sense. It was like counterproductive. So after the wedding happened and our son had his birthday and he turned 2, we started talking again about family planning. Again, I think we'd been talking about it on and off. You know, the first time we got pregnant, we took like a full month and just like really had to talk about it, because up until that point, we hadn't really talked about children much, other than when we first started dating and it was like, I want to have kids. Do you want to have kids? Yeah, you want to have kids? Great. Sounds good. Like, that was kind of the extent of the conversation that we had for the first 2 years of our relationship, until we decided we wanted to have kids. And then we like took a month and really thought about it and talked about it. When we decided to get pregnant the second time, we'd already been talking about it on and off for probably 6 months or so, maybe a year even. We knew we wanted another one, didn't exactly know when, back and forth on it. Family and friends had told us, you know, a 3-year age gap is really good with kids, 3 to 4. They're still close enough in age to be able to play together, but the oldest is still old enough to like have a little bit of independence. And so we decided after our son turned 2, which was July 15th, that we would start trying to get pregnant. And didn't get pregnant in July, had a cycle at the very end of July, fell into August, got pregnant in August, missed my cycle for August, took a test, was pregnant, found that out in September, and here we are. So getting pregnant with baby boy number 2 happened much more quickly than we expected. And again, around that same time frame, I was hitting the gym. I'd been hitting the gym pretty hard for about 6 months prior to getting pregnant, but I've just kind of noticed with my body personally, it seems that like when I am super active and hitting the gym on a regular basis, even if I'm not eating great, because let's face it, like I'm a bigger person, I like fries, I like burgers, I like shakes, I don't eat great, but I do like to exercise, I do like to go to the gym. And when I'm doing those things and I'm getting in my exercise on a regular basis, apparently I just get pregnant more easily. That just seems to be what works for me, because it happened with both pregnancies where I was working out consistently on like at least 4 to 5 times a week and I get pregnant. So that's just how it works apparently. So yeah, that is both of my trying to conceive story times. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments down below. And, you know, if you guys want to leave your stories down below, definitely feel free. I think that they help bring people together and make women feel like they're not alone. Because even though I only struggled for 11 months getting pregnant, like I understand to an extent the struggle. Like it was hard, you know, like it was disheartening and it was stressful and worrisome and sad and disappointing, and like I went through all of that. I just went through it for a much shorter time than others. But feel free to share your stories down below if you guys want to. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope to catch you in the next video.